Alright guys, that's the lab time again, and we have a basic OSPF configuration lab for you. We have 5 steps to accomplish. We have 5 routers in our topology, and we need to configure OSPF for the network above. Okay, here is area 0, here is area 10, and here is area 20, as you can see. Router 1 should be a ASPR. This guy should be an ASPR which redistributes the static routes. Okay, these are the static routes. This is an external routing domain, and these routes should not increase their metrics while they are passing over the network, and should have a beginning OSPF cost of 200. All right. And all routers should have a router ID that is similar to their names. Okay, what it's saying in here is we need to redistribute these routes. We are going to talk about redistribution later, and I'm going to show you deeply what is redistribution. But basically, if you want to make a communication between different routing protocols or between static routing and dynamic routing protocols, we need to use redistribution. Okay, and if we are redistributing into OSPF, we have two options. If we are redistributing as an E1, the routes are increasing their metrics. If we redistribute with E2, routes don't increase their metric. So we are going to use E2 redistribution in this example because it's saying us that it's saying us that these routes should not increase their metrics. Alright. Secondly, after configuring first step, we are going to take a look which router is DR and which is BDR for area 0. Okay. Then we are going to define router 1 DR in area 0, and we are going to define router 2 and 3 not to be DR or a BDR. Okay, after this configuration, which kind of a neighborship established between router 1, 2 and 3. Okay, we'll check. Then we are going to configure summarization on ABR and ASPRs. We just have an ASPR, I'm sorry, and for ABRs, which are router 2 and router 3. Okay, let's start with the first guy. I'm gonna configure OSPF for the network above, and router 1 should be a ASPR, which makes redistribution. Alright, let's go. Alright, let's start with router 1. I'm gonna check the interfaces by using show IP interface brief command first, and I'm gonna advertise this network by using a router ID with 1111 on OSPF, and I'm also redistribute the static routes into the OSPF domain. Alright. Conf router OSPF 1. The first thing when I'm making OSPF configuration should be to defining the router ID. Please keep in mind that if you define the router ID later, you need to clear the OSPF process. So the first thing you should do always is to define the router ID. Alright. Router ID 1111, network 00255 in area 0, and I'm gonna redistribute the static subnets with a metric of 200, and metric type will be E2. Alright, the matrix always will be constantly 200 because I'm using E2. Alright, router 1 is okay. Let's take a look to this guy. Router OSPF 1, router ID, then I'm gonna define the network statements. 00 belongs to area 0 and 10 for area 10. Alright, that seems cool. Show IP interface brief. Please keep in mind that first type show IP interface brief, then advertise the interfaces. Alright, conf D, router ID first. Oh no, router OSPF 1. Okay, router ID, networks 00 255 in area 0, 20 in area 20. Okay, let's go. Show IP interface brief. We have loopbacks in here as well, so we need to advertise them too. Okay. Router OSPF 1, network 20 255 in area 20, network 10 255 in area 20, 1. Boo, what's going on? 1, 3, and 2. Alright, let's go to this guy. Conf D router ID, router OSPF 1, and router ID 5555, network 10.0 in area 10 and 00 in area 10. One. Are the loopbacks same, or am I confusing? Oh no. Okay. In router 1, 1010. Router 4 is different. Okay. 1020. So no problem. We need to add. Oh, we did something wrong. No network will be in area 0. They are gonna belong to. Okay. Now they belong to 10. One, 2, and 3. Alright, I finished the configurations, so I'm gonna take a quick look if they're looking correct or not. Show run. Router ID and okay, I'm not gonna check one by one. I'm gonna check if there's a problem in the configuration. Alright. Configure OSPF for the network above. Okay. Router 1 is ASPR and making redistribution. Okay. These routes are not increasing their metrics. Alright, I used E2. And they have a beginning metric of 200. Alright, I configured. Then all routers should have a router ID similar to their names. Alright. The first step is accomplished. In the second, after configuring first step, which router is DR and BDR in area 0? Let's go. Show IP OSPF neighbor is the command that I check for the DRs and BDRs in an area. Alright. Router 2 is the BDR in here. So who is DR? I couldn't see any DR in here. So show IP OSPF neighbor and DR is router 1 as you can see. Alright, DR is router 1 for area 0 and BDR is router 2 for area 0. Second step is OK2. Then define router 1 as DR in area 0. It's already DR. This guy is already DR now, so I don't need to configure anything else. Then define router 2 and router 3 won't be a DR or BDR. Alright, this guy is BDR right now, so it won't be a BDR. So this guy also won't be a DR or BDR. So what we're gonna do? To configure this guys as not to be a DR or BDR, I need to decrease the OSPF priority values on the interfaces. Alright, let's go. Router 2. FAST00 IP OSPF priority 0. And router 3. Oh no. FAST00 IP OSPF priority 0. Then will the magic happen? Router 2 is BDR right now, and let's see. Okay. Both of these guys, 2 and 3, are DR other right now, which means it is not a DR or BDR. Okay. But not OSFP. But as you can see in here, router 1 is still DR. Okay. We accomplished this step 2, but we are gonna check after the configuration which kind of a neighborship established between router 1, 2 and 2, 3. One, 2 has a full neighborship. 2 and 3 has a two-way neighborship. The routers within an area makes a full neighborship with designated router, and there are other routers provide a two-way adjacency with themselves. This is what this guy is asking us. Alright, the first step. Configure summarization on ABR routers. On router 2 and router 3, I'm gonna configure a summarization for this way, which summarizes the loopback IP addresses while I'm sending to router 1. I'm on router 1 and I'm gonna take a look to show IP route. And I'm receiving all these prefixes, as you can see. I'm receiving these guys from router 4 and router 5. Alright, what I'm gonna do is to summarize these guys so router 1 will have a smaller routing table. Okay, let's go to router 2 first. I'm in router 2 and I'm gonna summarize 1010. Area to show IP interface brief and area 10 range 10 10 0 0 255 255 252.0. Okay, this IP and subnet mask covers all networks of the all loopbacks of the other guys. Okay, in router 3 area 20 this time, range 10 0 0 and .0. Okay, let's go to router 1 again and check what I'm gonna see. What I'm expecting is I don't want to see them separately. I just want to see as summarized routes instead of these guys, and I'm receiving them right now, as you can see. Just 10.10.0.0 and 10.20.0.0 is what I'm receiving. Okay. I configured summarization on ABR routers too. The last step is saying me that I configure summarization on ASPR router. This time I'm gonna summarize these static routes and I'm gonna check what's going on. I'm gonna go to router 1 this time. Router OSPF 1, and when I'm summarizing by using the ASPR, the command is summary address. Summary address 00 again, and will be this subnet mask, and that's it. That's the old thing. Okay guys, I configured the summarization on ASPR router 2, and that's the whole thing. We came end of our lab session, and thanks for viewing.